Hey, welcome to another episode of Rob Wells Music Talk. I'm back at another dog park here with Bodie that we're still dog sitting him. And there's a few people here coming and going, but right now it's just the two of us. So I thought, what better time to do another one of these videos than right now? It's a beautiful day, the sun's shining. It's -6 Celsius, something like that. So I'm dressed up this way. Welcome to Canada. It's what we have to deal with on a yearly basis, you know, this time of year, being winter. Summertime, it looks very, very different than this, but this is what we have to deal with right now. Anyways, today what I thought I was going to talk to you about is some really good information about producing. And I know I've mentioned this to a lot of people already, but if I can mention to you, the listener, as you watch this video, as to how I go about producing my songs, how I go about producing my demos, especially when I'm working with a lot of virtual instruments and not a lot of live instruments. This is kind of the way that I go about making my productions sound really good, at least to me, and make sure that they're not overproduced. That's the big secret, is to not overproduce your productions. So here's what I do. When the song is written, when the song is all done, and I love it, when I absolutely love the song, when I can listen to it 1,000 times without any production, where it's just me playing the piano and somebody singing, or I'm singing and I can sing it 1,000 times and not get sick of it, then I think it's pretty much ready to go into production. So what I will do at that point is I will open up my DAW, which is Cubase, but you can use literally anything. You can use whatever DAW you want. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is what's going on up here in your head. But I will open up Cubase and I will create a virtual piano track, and because that's my main instrument that I play. If it's kind of a piano-based song, or if it's a synth-based song, I'll probably pull up a synth. If it's a guitar-based song, I'll pull up some sort of guitar pattern generator, something from, you know, Native Instruments. Strummed guitarist is what I like to use, just to lay down some sort of simple pattern. And I basically just lay down the chords from top to bottom of the song. So I'll go and just arrange it all that way. And then once that's done, I'll go in and I'll make markers that say, okay, here's the intro, here's the verse, here's the chorus, here's verse 2, here's chorus 2, here's the bridge, here's the last chorus, here's the ending chorus. Basically, whatever the arrangement is of the song, I'll put out the markers. So I've got this basic instrument that's just laying down the chords. Once I've got that, I will lay down a temporary scratch vocal from top to bottom, just singing the entire song from top to bottom, the verses, the choruses, the bridge. I'm not doing any backing vocals. I'm not doing any ad-libs. I am probably just recording one chorus and then repeating that multiple times. And I'm not tuning anything. I'm not timing anything. I'm not doing any editing to this vocal whatsoever. This is just a temporary scratch vocal so that I can hear it, so that I can start building the production around this vocal. So, okay, I've done those two things. I've laid down the temporary instrument and I've got my vocal, my temporary scratch vocal going. Once that's done and I'm loving where it is, I will delete the temporary instrument. I will get rid of that part because it is just probably me just playing chords, just marking the chords. What I then do is I like to produce the chorus first. That's a big, big thing that I had to learn over the years, because when I was first getting started, I would start producing from the intro first. And you're going to understand why I produce from the chorus first now and forever, probably from this moment on. I've been doing it for many years and it's really, really helped me out. And I hope that this helps you out as well. When you produce from the chorus first, so what I do is I basically loop the chorus, and all I can hear at that point is just the vocal that has been laid down, the temporary scratch vocal, and it's looping. And I'm thinking, as I hear this, I'm just thinking, I know what the chords are. I know what the vocal is. I now want to come up with a part that is basically the dominant instrument of the song. So I think, what is this song? Is it a piano-based song? Is it an acoustic guitar-based song? Is it an electric guitar-based song? Is it a synth-based song? Is it a percussion-based song? Whatever the instrument might be, whatever that dominant instrument is the instrument that I try to figure out first in the chorus that is now looping. And once I figured out that dominant instrument, I will come up with a part that follows the chord chart, but it also sort of merges really well with the vocal that's there. I really want to create something that supports that vocal, so that when you hear the vocal, you're like, Okay, this feels like it's one. It feels like it's together. It doesn't feel like it's clashing. It also doesn't feel like the dominant instrument is stepping on the toes of the vocal, right? That's what you want. You want to make sure that that vocal is going to be the most important thing in your production. A number one production element is the vocal. It is the top of the pyramid. It's all of that. It is the king or queen of your musical production, the vocal. So the dominant instrument should not step on the toes of that vocal. And the dominant instrument should be interesting enough that you should be able to solo it and listen to it without the vocal and think, wow, that's actually a really kind of a cool part. You know, I could listen to that on its own. It's interesting enough. So that's kind of what I want to achieve with this dominant instrument. I want to come up with just the chorus, only the chorus part, of just a cool dominant instrument part that merges really well with the vocal and yet is interesting enough to just be on its own. Maybe it's a way that I'm playing it, it's a style that I'm playing, or maybe there's some sort of arpeggio thing going on or whatever. Just something that is interesting so that it doesn't step on the toes of the vocal and yet it's interesting enough just on its own. So once I've got that and it feels really good, I will go down a layer of production and I will do the next most important instrument, which is usually the drums. For me, it's the drums right after the dominant instrument. And again, I'll want to create a part for the drums that merges really well with the dominant instrument. So whatever the layer is directly above that dominant instrument, I now want to create a drum part that works so well on its own that just feels really good. It doesn't step on the toes of the dominant instrument, but you can solo that drum part and think, wow, that's a really cool, interesting part. You know, I don't want to just create stuff that's just jam songs, just people just jamming around. I want each part to be well thought out and really intricate and just, it doesn't mean that it has to be busy, but I just want to have some thought in there so that you can listen to it on its own and think that is really cool. That is really interesting. I would like to learn how to play that part myself. You know, that's really what I'm looking for. Once I've got that drum part, I then go down another level and I'll probably do the bass. And I'll work on the bass part, whether it's a synth bass or a real bass or an upright bass or whatever. It could be an orchestral bass, you name it. I'm looking to create something that merges really well with the next level up, which is the drum part, right? You see what I'm doing? So I'm making sure that every single layer is not stepping on the toes of the layer directly above. And if you do that, nothing will ever step on the toes of the vocal, which is the most important thing to never step on the toes of, right? You want everything to just work really, really well and just really just like come in and just be sounding great all together, but also on their own, they sound really, really cool. So I'll come up with a bass part that really follows the drum pattern, especially the kick drum pattern. I'll find something that just really is locked in with that drum pattern rhythmically, but then I'll also find note-wise some interesting things to play where I'm not just playing the root note of whatever the chord is that we're playing. Like I'll find some movement within there so that it's interesting, so that if somebody were listening to this and they play the bass or they play synth bass or whatever, that they'd say, that's a really cool part. I'd like to learn how to do that. And then again, I'll go down another layer and I'll do, you know, if it's a piano-based song, then maybe I'll do a slight strumming acoustic part or something. The whole point is I'm trying to make this chorus sound as great as possible using as little instrumentation as possible. This is the whole point that I'm trying to get at here, is you just produce your chorus first and make it sound as big as possible for the whole song, because the chorus is really like the party of the song, if you think about it, right? You want that chorus to sound as big as possible using as little instrumentation as possible. So once I've got the chorus and I've done all my layers, I might do an extra layer beyond the acoustic guitar, maybe some bits of electric or some synth parts or some ear candy, you know, some bells and whistles and things like that. Not literal bells and whistles, but you know what I mean. I want the chorus to sound great. Once I've got that chorus sounding amazing, what I'll do is I'll now start working backwards and I'll start going into the pre-chorus. And I'll take all of those sounds. I'll take my sound palette of what I've created and I'll move it backwards and I'll use that same sound palette that I have in the chorus, which I know that's what we're leading to. But I'll go into the pre-chorus and I'll start stripping away elements. I'll start stripping away. Maybe I don't need some of those synth elements in the pre-chorus. Maybe I don't need that electric guitar part in the pre-chorus. But I'll go through each section again. I'll listen, I'll loop that vocal, and I'll start doing the dominant instrument. I'll come up with an interesting part that works well with the vocal, but also I'm thinking about what I've done in the chorus. What's the pattern that I've done in the chorus? What's the part that I've done in the chorus? I want this pre-chorus part to feel like it's a little bit less than what I've done in the chorus, but it still is related to what I've done in the chorus. So I'll do that for all the layers in the pre-chorus, the same way that I did for all the layers in the chorus, starting with the dominant instrument, starting with the drums, then going on to the bass, then all the other layers that are underneath, but stripping away somewhat of what was in the chorus. Then I go into the verse. I'm going backwards still, and I'll strip away even more. I'll strip away even more elements so that it becomes thinner. The production sounds a little bit thinner, but I'm still making it so that it's all related to what I've done before. It all feels like a natural progression going forward by working backwards. And then I'll go into my intro, and I will strip away even more production, really, really thin it out. But I'm still using the same audio palette that I started with in the chorus. I'm just stripping away, stripping away, stripping away, stripping away as I go backwards into the pre-chorus, into the verse, into the intro. But I'm always trying to create interesting parts for each section while still relating it to what I've done before. I hope this is all making sense. If you do this and then you play the song from the beginning to the end, you will find that you have a song that just really works well. It just sounds like it's not overproduced because you were stripping away as you went backwards. The chorus is going to sound as big as possible using as little instrumentation as possible, and it'll just feel really, really great. Sorry, there's a train going by right now, and you can probably hear it rumbling in the distance. Everybody loves the sound of a train in the distance. That's what Paul Simon said. But if you do this, if you go from the intro, playing it into the chorus, you will find that it just feels great doing it this way. If you do your production another way, if you do it this way where you start from the intro and you start producing and you add some instruments, and then you go into the verse and you add some instruments, and then you go into the pre-chorus and you add some instruments. By the time you get to that chorus, you have 50 instruments that are playing to try and build the momentum on there, and you end up getting this crazy production that is way overproduced. It just feels like there's too much. It feels like the vocal is buried. It feels like the production is the star, where the vocal should always be the star. You don't want that. Please, please, please try my method, and you will find that it's a much better way for you to create these productions that don't sound overproduced, and they really let the vocal shine, and you'll just be way more satisfied if you do it that way. So that's my process of producing. It's what I always do. Again, I don't produce until the song is rocking, until the song sounds amazing just on its own. I always wait until that moment, and then I start producing. And then, even if you think about it, if the song is so good at that point, you need very minimal production in order to make it even better, because the song already stands on its own. So that's another reason for making sure that you don't start producing until the song is written. Absolutely. Anyways, that's it. I'm going to go hang out with Bodhi a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you a pleasant day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.